The way you greet a customer in the first 30 seconds determines whether they buy, whether they come back, or whether they go home and tell all their friends about you and your store, right? Welcome back to the Richer Retailer Podcast. Most retailers default to the same tired phrases over and over again. And those phrases, they put customers on the defensive the second that they walk into the store. And the retailer doesn't even know what's happening. They probably don't even know what's happening. There is a right way to do this. And there is a very, very, very wrong way to do this. And the difference between the two will show up directly in your sales. This topic has clearly hit a nerve. We've got over 338,000 views on YouTube with this topic and hundreds of comments from both customers and store owners. It's been fascinating. Some of those comments, wow, people pushed back hard, which I welcome. I love that so much. So today, I'm not only sharing what I know, I'm going to address those objections head on, because if your customers are thinking about some of this stuff, you need to know about it. Right? And because I'm always doing the research and updating what we teach so that you get the most current and most accurate information, I'm going to share why this is even more important now than it was a couple years ago. It's incredible. You see it happen with your team members in your store, right? The people who just kind of freeze. And when you're talking to them in a conversation, they're so fine. And that's why you hired them. And it's wonderful. And you feel welcomed and comfortable with them. And they walk behind the counter and out on the floor. And it's like they're like a deer in headlights, right? They're just staring. And so then they just say what everyone says. So, hey, how can I help you today? The big smile on their face. And that instantly puts up the customer's defenses. Instantly, it's screaming to them, I am a salesperson. That's what I am. And people inherently don't like salespeople. We don't like to be sold to. No one does. So the customer looks at them and very politely smiles and says, oh, no, thanks. I'm just looking. And then so often the person will say right back to them, okay, great. Hey, my name's Cathy. And so if you need anything, I'll be right over here. The person smiles and says, okay, thanks. Yeah, I'll let you know. And then they keep walking and then they never say anything again, right? The point is that whole approach sets the customer up for a bad experience before it even begins. The customer is tense. They're defensive instantly. I mean, they're going to stay polite, right? But tense and defensive people don't buy. That's the problem. And they don't have a great experience, right? There is actually a science of greeting customers in a store. And it's framed around consumer psychology. It's framed around dopamine and relationship building instead of just chasing transactions. That's not what you want, right? And that's what we're going to talk about today. I've already started talking to you about the whole consumer psychology and how when you come out and saying, hey, how can I help you today? Instantly, you've got a big sign above your head that says, I'm a salesperson. And the person shuts down. The customer will just shut down. That's exactly what happens. And so I'm going to lead you through how to not make the customer defensive, how to not make the customer tense, and instead to release that dopamine, which is that feel good hormone. Is dopamine a hormone? Which makes them feel good, right? That's what we're going to do. And set them up for creating a relationship with them so that they feel special. So there's 3 moves that we're going to take you through. Move number 1 is to acknowledge them immediately. No matter what you're doing, where in the store, whether you're behind the counter or helping someone else, just stop and acknowledge them real quick the minute they walk in. Hey, how are you? That's all you have to do. Welcome. Just whatever it is that comes naturally to you. Know that you're not looking for anything more than that. You just want them to feel seen and appreciated. That's all. That's your only job. So number 1, acknowledge immediately so that they feel seen and appreciated. Just a, hey, how are you? That's all. And the reason why that works so well right now is that nearly 2/3 of Gen Z prefer to shop in store when discovering new products, which is actually even a higher rate than millennials. They're choosing to show up in your store. And what they encounter in stores is the opposite of what we're talking about today. In fact, they actually call it the Gen Z gaze, this blank, silent expression from employees who grew up on screens during the pandemic. It's become a genuine customer experience problem that these people just have totally blank faces. So before you say to yourself, yeah, that's not my team. That's not what my team does. Are you sure? You've got to practice this, right? But we'll get into that in a second. So that's move one, to acknowledge them so they feel seen and welcomed. Number two, give them a moment. Give them a moment. Don't tackle them at the door. We all hate that. Once again, it screams, I'm a salesperson. Let them breathe. Let them walk around. Let them take in a little bit of the store. Then you ease into where they are, not hovering, not in their face, not hovering, but just nearby. What I always like to do was to get in their general area and start sizing things. I had a kid's store, so things were always out of size. So I would start sizing things or straightening things. You're getting closer without pressure, right? The reason why it works so well now is that we're also aware of mental health, right? And it's so important and has been so ignored for so long. There are a lot of people that are kind of socially anxious, that aren't really comfortable coming into stores. And so they want to feel safe. You want them to feel safe, of course. And so how do you do that? So number one, by acknowledging them, that they feel seen and appreciated. The second thing is that you're giving them a moment. You're not pouncing on them right away. So your point is not to sell the person, right? Your point is to let them breathe. Let them get a little comfortable. And it's more important now than ever before because of this. So give them a moment, right? Move number three, start a real conversation. Forget the sale. Don't even think about selling them anything. Focus on the relationship. That's what really matters to you most of all anyway, right? And when you're talking to a team member about this, a team member doesn't want to be known as someone who's just like, here, yeah, buy this fabulous Toy Story 5 mug that I've got here for you. I do love it so. The point is that you want these people to feel safe and comfortable, and you want to just start a conversation with them. Open-ended questions are always the thing to ask. I want you to have genuine curiosity about the person. Any real observation or any real question works. So here are some examples. I found an easy way to think about it was what day of the week it was, right? So like on Monday and Tuesday, while I'm straightening things, I'd say, hey, did you do anything fun over the weekend? Or if there was some local festival or something, hey, did you make it downtown for Rib Fest or whatever it is? Monday or Tuesday, you can always use that. That's something a little different. If it's Thursday or Friday, you can always say, hey, what are you doing for fun this weekend? Depending on what time of the year it is, are you enjoying the last bit of summer? Are you going to catch those fall leaves before they're all gone? Anything like that works great. The weather can be okay, but sometimes it's overused, right? So I liked to only talk about the weather if it was extreme in one way or another, if it recently had been extreme one way or another. But I can tell you that, so hey, look at that rain out there, huh? That makes the person as defensive as, hey, how can I help you today? It's the same thing. It's not real. It's not what you would say to a friend. The other thing is to compliment the person on what they're wearing and then let that lead somewhere. But again, only if it's true, only if it's something that actually have curiosity about, right? The point here is that there's no pressure, because when the pressure's off of you, the pressure's off of them, and everything flows more naturally. The reason why this works so well right now is that everyone wants authenticity, right? We all want things that are real. We don't want scripted AI comments or scripted AI forced interactions. That's not what this is about. That's why giving a person a genuine compliment is really, really strong and really, really powerful, because it's specific to that person in front of you. It's not a generic opener. That person wants to know that they are seen, that they are safe, and that you're talking specifically to them. And reading the room is part of this skill, like recognizing that when someone's like, hey, I'm not sure what I'm doing this weekend. Yeah, they're in a hurry. Okay, no big deal. Or maybe they're just a complete introvert and they really don't want to talk to you. They're going to signal pretty clearly that they don't want to chat, and that is fine. Just stay warm and don't hesitate to acknowledge it. Don't hesitate to say, hey, it looks like you're in a hurry. No worries. You could say that. That's fine too. Again, it's just honest. That's the thing. And it's specific to them. And you just want to kind of stay warm and stay nearby without pushing the conversation. Because I assure you that if you're here and the person's over here, they're more likely to look up and say, so do you have this in any other sizes? I'm curious. They're going to ask that. Whereas if you're all the way in the back there, they're going to pick up, they're going to look around for you. You're not going to be there and they're not going to ask the question. So you just want to be casually nearby. You're not forcing a conversation with every human who walks through your front door. That's not this purpose here, right? You want them to feel seen. You're going to acknowledge them immediately so that they feel seen. Move 2 is safe. You're going to give them a moment so that they feel safe. And then moment 3 is specific. You're going to start a real conversation with something that's specifically for them right now in this moment, okay? Now let's talk about addressing some of that pushback that you get when people just want to be left alone. Because listen, I am always the most extroverted person in any room, yet there are times when I'm just wandering around a store and I do just want to be left alone. I've just had an argument with, well, not Paul, of course, not my husband, because we never fight. But you know what I'm saying. Sometimes you do just want to be left alone. And so this whole part all came from all those real comments that we got on the YouTube video. So objection number 1 is that someone said, I just want to be left alone. So please just say hello and let me browse. So many people said this, and I get it. That's why I mentioned that it's so important that you read the room, because this whole approach is not about forcing conversation on someone who doesn't want it. It's no big deal. I want you to not feel pressure to sell every single person. That isn't your point. That isn't your job as a team member on the floor, as a salesperson on the floor. Sure, that's your job title, but you're a salesperson. You're a person, and I want you to treat all these people like human. What I know as an owner and as a founder of my own stores, I know that what I wanted is for my team members to create relationships more than I wanted them to be salespeople. And in fact, we should change the name. The name shouldn't be salespeople. It should be relationship people. Because there shouldn't be pressure on anyone to sell anything. That's not what you want as an owner and as a founder. You don't want to make anyone feel uncomfortable or unsafe. You want them to feel well. That's a big difference between being warm and genuinely curious versus being a hovering salesperson. Like you're not right up to next to them saying, can I help you? Can I help you? That's not the point. So follow their lead a bit. Just follow their lead. If they pick up something and they're looking at it, you can genuinely say, hey, no pressure, but just so you know, we have more sizes of this in the back. Then just continue walking. Do you see how you can handle that so calmly? All right. Objection number 2, this person said, when a salesperson pretends to straighten things near me, I feel watched, like they think I'm going to steal. So listen, this whole straightening technique works because it gives you a believable reason to be nearby that person that has nothing to do with them. And their brain can explain your presence because their brain is thinking they're just doing their job. But it can't be fake, because if it's fake at all, then the person's inner sense is going to be, okay, this is creep. They're totally just watching me. So you can't just move things back and forth. Like you literally have to look at the size, like pull the tag out, look at the size, and then move it to the other size. Maybe you go and get a rag, and so you're going to wipe off the dust up here. It has to be genuine. This whole thing is about being genuine, about being real. So the problem isn't the straightening. It's when the straightening is fake. It's when the straightening isn't genuine. All of this is about being genuine, right? That's the whole point here. So be genuinely occupied with what you're doing. Be genuinely straightening. Be genuinely looking for, oh, does this shelf need to be cleaned? Because when you're doing real work, then the person never even thinks that, because you're not acting weird. You're really straightening right there. And if there's genuinely nothing to straighten, well, then find something else to do. You could restock a shelf. You could check a tag. You could just maybe move some things around. Start remerchandising. We all know that the minute you start remerchandising, people come through the front door, right? So do that. The specific task doesn't matter. What really matters is that your hands are doing something real and that your body language reads, I work here, not I'm waiting for you to do something. I'm waiting for you to ask me something. No, I work, right? Be genuine. That's the result. Okay, objection number 3. We saw this one a lot. I hate small talk. Asking me about my weekend feels nosy and fake. This was one of the most common objections, and it really proves my point. Why does it feel fake? Because people have done it badly. Someone from Best Buy looking up and said, hey, what are your plans this weekend, while scanning items without looking up. That is fake. That is a script. That is something that's written on their POS that they have to say to somebody. But what I'm teaching is the opposite of that. It's genuine curiosity. It's a real conversation. And I'll tell you, everyone knows the difference between genuine interest and when it's fake. You know the difference. experience. Number 4. So you've gone through this, you've started the conversation with people, right? So now I'm going to move into the next step of the sales process, because so you've started the conversation with somebody, you feel like you have a little bit of a connection, and so the way to transition it, because what used to happen to me is that I would start talking and then we'd be talking about music or Taylor Swift, for example, and all of a sudden time would just go by and I'm like, oh my gosh, well, how do I turn the conversation around? And so I found it very natural to say, well, so what brings you into the store today? When there was an opening in the conversation, I'd just say it with a smile on my face, looking them in the eye. And that, I tell you, that magic question, in fact, I call it the magic question, because what people would often say is, oh, nothing really. I'm just here for a baby gift. Nothing really, but you're just here for a baby gift. They've told you what they want. Or maybe they just say nothing really. And so then great, you can, oh gosh, well, I'm glad. Well, hey, look around. It's fun. And then you can show them something can I show you something that just came in, just so you know? And they'll say yes or no, whatever, so you can continue the conversation. So that's the magic question, is what brings you in today? Because I'll tell you, 9 times out of 10, it takes you right exactly where you want to go. However, we had many people say that they felt that was aggressive, like being jumped at. This is so significant because it's not this magic question. So what brings you in today? What brings you into the store today is not meant to be used after, hey, how are you? So what brings you into the store today? Yeah, no, that is super aggressive. That is like being jumped at the door. It comes after the welcome, after they feel seen. It comes after giving them a moment, after they feel safe. It comes after the real conversation, when you said something specific to them. So it's after a real conversation has started and is sort of wound down a little bit. The timing is everything. It absolutely works. If you use it too early, of course it's pushy, but used at the right moment, it comes across so naturally and so genuinely, which is the point of all this, right? The other thing about the magic question is that it invites them to share. If you're using it at the right time in the conversation, it signals that you're available to help and it removes all pressure. You're not saying, so what'd you come in the store to buy today? Give me your credit card. So it's not that, right? So often people will kind of deflect and they'll say nothing. I'm just looking, and tell you what it is that they're looking, like I said. What we know is that research has proven that over 70% of customers are willing to pay more for a premium experience. And today's shoppers aren't just buying products. They want experiences that feel relevant to their lives and to what they're looking for. And so when you say, what brings you into the store today, at the right moment, that's how you create a premium experience. That's no different than when a friend comes over and you're chit-chatting and you say, so hey, what brings you, so hey, what's going on in your life, right? You're not going to say that to a customer in a store, but you know how you would say that to a friend, right? You're digging into the real reason why they came. And sometimes people will say, oh, nothing, I'm just looking around. It's a nice day. I was out for a walk. Great. Yeah, wonderful, right? But often they have a reason for coming there. And so that magic question gives them permission to share it, but it only works after trust has been developed, right? There were a couple comments that validated how well this works. In fact, one commenter who sells patio furniture shared that they have 100% conversion rate when they ask that question, because people start talking and telling us, because people start telling a story about their house and their patio and what they need. And that's the power of this question when it's used correctly. A retailer with 8 years of experience on the floor said that she could see how asking that magic question would open the door without pressure. And that's precisely it. That's precisely it. Another person said that when they get the customers to start talking with that, they share so much about what they actually need. It makes the whole sales process so much easier. And the beautiful thing is that once they start talking, then you just keep asking open-ended questions. Keep showing them things they need. Oh yeah, I'm just here for a baby gift. Oh, so much fun. Who had the baby? And just start talking. That's how you get more information about it, like all with open-ended questions, right? Something that I found after doing this for decades was that you often have two types of customers. You'll have the browser that just wants to look around and, yeah, I'm just wandering around, I'm just here to look and see, which is great, right? And when they pick something up, I find that it helps to ask their permission. Oh my gosh, can I tell you something about that? Just ask. And 9 times out of 10, they're going to say, yeah, sure. Sometimes they'll say, oh, no. That's great. Then you're just going to say, oh, no worries. And just going to move on. Because, right, you don't want to be pushy. And so just say, hey, so listen, What I love about this item, did you know? And then you launch into FAB-G, which is the feature, the advantage, the benefit, and the grabber. FABG, FAB-G. The feature is that, did you know this cup, not only is it adorable with Toy Story on it, and it's got this little the characters at the very top of it, which is fun, but it's insulated. So that's the feature. The advantage to you is that so it keeps cold beverages cold for 24 hours. I'm completely making that up because I don't know for sure, but you get the point. So that's the advantage. It keeps things cold for 24 hours. So the benefit to you is that so you can fill this up in the morning, carry around with you all day, and what you're drinking is always cold. That's the benefit to you. And then the grabber is, wouldn't that be great not to have to worry about your iced coffee becoming lukewarm coffee? That's the grabber. So often people will say, and that gets them to say yes, right? So often people will just say, oh my gosh, do you know what's great about this is that it's insulated, but that's which is just the feature, but they don't go into it, the advantages to the customer or the benefit. So that's a great thing to take your team members through. So that's one type of customer. The other type of customer is a mission customer, the customer that comes in, they're in a hurry. And so the thing to do is just to step out and meet their energy. Hey, it looks like you're on a mission today. How can I help you get out of here fast? They're going to smile every single time you say that because nobody else says that, but a friend would, right? You're genuinely responding to how they're acting. One last thing I want to cover. Well, two last things. The first thing I want to cover is what to never say. So these are a couple of the specific comments that you know you've heard way too often. They are totally useless questions that stop relationships before they even start. Number one, how can I help you today? Number two, if you have any questions, I'm right here. No, people will include their name. It doesn't matter. People aren't going to remember your name. Or people asking, hey, have you been in here before? No. Or the fourth one that I despise also is, how's the weather? What? Unless, like I said, there's something out of the ordinary, right? Every one of those questions is a red blinking light that says, I'm a salesperson only looking for a transaction, not a relationship. You wouldn't say those kind of things to your friends, right? Now, to be sure, there are times when they genuinely come up. When a person says, yeah, I'm just going to wander around. Okay, great. I'm right here if you need anything. Like, that's fine when they've said that because you're answering honestly, right? But our whole goal here is an honest relationship that brings them back. And so just a generic, hey, I'm right here, that doesn't do it. But you're like, hey, okay, no problem. But when you say something like, hey, great, well, look around. There's so many fun things to see. And I'm right here if you need anything. So I'm adding that because several commenters on the video said that they like hearing, if you need help, I'm right here. And I want you to know that when you say it genuinely, and I want you to know that it's because they heard it said to them genuinely. Okay, that's the huge difference. You have to have a commitment to genuineness, to authenticity in all of this, right? I'll tell you, the last thing I want to cover here is how to teach this to your team because every person on your team needs to know this, not just you. Share this episode with them, share this podcast or share the video on YouTube with them. And you've got to do role playing with the different scenarios, especially those pushback ones, until it feels natural. Every single team meeting you have, you are having team meetings, right? Every single team meeting you have should include everyone running through a quick role play. It's often the most important topic you can cover in a team meeting. The one scenario every team member should practice before they open tomorrow is that browser who says, I'm just looking, because that is the moment that most team members freeze or run behind a counter. So practice what to say, how to give space, how to stay present on the floor so that when it happens for real, it feels like second nature. This is what you have to bring to your next team meeting. Yes, it'll feel awkward, but every single awkward time doing it with your team members reduces the awkward times that they'll experience with your customers. We don't want your team to be practicing on your customers, right? They should be practicing with each other. And remembering that the goal for all of this is to make it feel like a real, genuine conversation, not a sales technique, right? Teach it to your team, but you wish we could teach it to your customers. But I want you to practice it over and over again with your team until it feels natural and easy. Because that new raving fan that just walked through your door, this is how you make them yours. This is how you grow customer loyalty. So the first thing, pick one phrase from today and retire it permanently. Whatever it is you hear the team saying, how can I help you today? Or if you have any questions, I'm right here. Or how's the weather? Pick one phrase that you're just going to delete permanently, gone, starting today, right? Action number 2 is to talk to your team about customers need to feel seen. Hey, how are you? They need to feel safe. You don't jump on them. You let them kind of wander for a little bit. And then they need to have a specific open-ended question that will start a conversation. And then you move into step number 4, which is the magic question. So what brings you into the store today? Keep practicing that. Say it out loud right now if you have to. And then number 3 is to share this episode with every single person on your team for your next shift. And then keep role playing that browser scenario of how I'm just looking till nobody freezes. Okay. These are the 4 actions I want you to take. Now listen, when I first did this YouTube video, what I was primarily addressing was those overeager salespeople that were tackling customers at the front door with, can I help you find something, right? But it's interesting how much the cultural context has shifted. And now there is this problem where where employees make no eye contact, say nothing, and leave customers to fend for themselves. I know we've all had the experience of walking into a store and walking out and never feeling seen, never really feeling safe, and never had anything specific said to you. So what I wanted to do was to address both experiences, which are both failures for sure. Being overeager and not saying anything, right? This is one piece, how you open up a relationship with the customer the minute they walk in. And that's just one of our 5 core systems that really drive a profitable, freedom-giving retail business that makes you richer in every aspect of the word. When all 5 are working together so great, your cash flow, your inventory, your team, your marketing, and your customer experience, that's when the store stops running you and you start running the store. That's what today was about. And that's what becoming a Millie actually looks like. So if you're sitting there knowing that there's more to unlock in your business, so if you're sitting there feeling great because you've unlocked this how to greet a customer part of your business, but you realize there's other things too that need to be addressed. There's other things that are holding you back from what your dream was of the store to begin with. That's exactly the conversation that our game plan call was created to start. You tell us where you are, you tell us where you want to go, and then we tell you what we see and give you a game plan to get there. The link to apply is in the show notes. We'd be honored to help you. Listen, if you loved this episode and if you haven't hit that follow button yet, do it right now. Please do me that favor. I'd so appreciate it. And come find us at Retail Mavens everywhere, on Facebook, on Instagram, everywhere. We'd love to see you. I'm so grateful for you. Thank you for being here. All right, everybody. Know that you are astonishingly fabulous and you are loved. Have a great day. Bye-bye now. Happy retailing.